as far as كيفية الاستفادة من شهر رمضان المبارك, how do we benefit? How do we reap? How do we maximize as much as we possibly can from this holy, sacred, blessed month? Then there are many things that can be said, many ways of looking at it, discussing it, and talking about it. The spiritual realm, the social realm, the moral realm, the political realm. All of these things pertain to this month and are all from the lessons, the aims, and the objectives of this month. So, with regards to the political realm, why are we talking about politics? What do you mean? Well, you just look at the world today, what's going on and what's happening. One of the higher aims of the month of Ramadan is sympathizing and empathizing with your brother in Islam. One of the reasons why there is political chaos, upheaval, mayhem, and havoc is because many of us have forgotten about sympathy and empathy. And it's us versus them dynamic. That's their country, that's their problem, that's their tribe, that's their city. It's not an us problem. That's their problem. So even though that's a personal statement and attitude, but it translates into geopolitics as well, the geopolitical scheme of things. Versus other countries who know that what they're going through and what they want to do, good, bad, or ugly, is their own personal endeavor, expedition, problem, but they've translated it and they've transformed it into a universal problem when we talk about politics. So no one is blind and no one is oblivious to what's happening in the Gaza Strip. No one is blind and no one is oblivious to what is going on in the West Bank. No one is blind or oblivious to Syria, to Lebanon, and other parts of the Levant. No one is blind or oblivious, let alone outside of that area, the Levant and the Middle East, and the lands of the Muslims and non-Muslims. No one is blind to it. But just look, subhanAllah, just look at it. Right now, what the Muslims are going through there is a them-their problem. Or I just make dua and, that's it. Versus any criticism of us, our state, our form of politics and government is a direct attack on one of the world's 3 most popular religions. And a whole entire race, culture of people, give or take, what is and what isn't a Jew. They've turned into a universal problem. Think about that now. We, us, it's a them problem. Them, the whole world owes us. The whole world has to keep quiet, keep silent, turn a blind eye. The whole world has to donate and justify and support. The whole world has to tell us and explain their position on October the 7th, etc., etc., etc. You must show empathy and sympathy to our plight. And the Muslims are saying, I'm not showing sympathy and empathy because it's their problem. Think about that, subhanAllah. And what does Ramadan teach us? It teaches you to taste hunger for a month, to taste thirst for a month, to taste loneliness for just 1 month, for you to sympathize with the countless Muslims around the world who are always hungry, thirsty, and cannot fulfill their sexual desires in a lawful manner. So one can say from the highest aims of Ramadan is sympathy and empathy. And that translates into politics. An ally. The moment you do anything to this country, we're there. Rather, before you think of anything reckless, we will send our warships and our carriers, and we'll park them very close to your front door. We're not shooting at you yet, we're not bombing you yet, but we're just going to park them there as a reminder. If you start thinking reckless and crazy, know for sure A war with them is a war with us, automatically. What would the Muslim Ummah be like if we had that mindset? What would the Muslim Ummah be like? Just talking about politics, what would it be like? Not because we're the same race or the same this, but because we're believers. I have no choice but to help you out. What I have. As far as you ask me for 200, I only have 100. I'm sorry, this is the best I have. But the 100 is yours. All I have is one sandwich. Bismillah, it's your sandwich now. How better and stronger would the ummah be? So this is a lesson from Ramadan. This is a higher aim from Ramadan that spills and translates into other things. Everybody get the point that I'm trying to make? So how do we benefit from Ramadan on the spiritual level? How do I benefit from Ramadan on the physical level? Health, eating less, drinking less, being more mindful of my habits, sleeping too much, sleeping too little. Balance, slow steps, leap. Slow, 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 leap. Slow, 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 fast. The mindset of life. If you have 5 days out the week, 7 days in total, 5 days, I pace myself in learning or working out or sparring. 1 day out of the week, I go really, 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 really hard. And 1 day out of the week, I go harder than the other 5, but not as much as that 1 day. Ramadan teaches you that because you're not going to be able to keep up that pace all throughout the entire year, fasting every day. And this is why the Prophet forbade Siyam al-Dahr. Fasting all year long is prohibited because you need that break. But every now and then you have to what? You take that leap. So therefore, how do we benefit from Ramadan on these different aspects and levels? Spiritually, physically, mentally, discipline, self-discipline, self-control. That's the foundation with regards to an addiction, with regards to bad habits, with regards to forming good habits. It's strength of mind, strength of will. You've lost control. You can't stop drinking or smoking if you wanted to. You no longer have control. And the only reason why you became addicted is that you didn't have self-control. So Ramadan teaches us, and it gives us so many things from so many different angles and aspects. And this is why Islam is a deen. It's not just a faith, but it's a way of life and a way of death. So, spiritually, how do I benefit from the month? Physically, socially, economically, politically. All of these things are boxes for us to check. What do we get from this month of Ramadan? And this is the similitude of the guest that we mentioned, the guest that comes. This guest is so beautiful, so wonderful that I forgot all of my problems when he came over my house. When we sat down, we had coffee, he literally took my mind off of all of my worries and problems. And there was nothing I didn't ask him or want except that he had something to give me. That's the month of Ramadan. Ramadan gives you in every aspect of your life if you're willing to take and to receive. So, let us focus bi'idhnillahi ta'ala on one of the ways of benefiting from this month in theory and in practice. All right, so I need a volunteer again, like we needed a volunteer earlier. And subhanAllah, only the younger sisters were the volunteers. May Allah bless them. No other sister went to volunteer. That says a lot. Alhamdulillah. So who's my volunteer for the brothers? All right, bismillah. So, you ever been in jail? You sure? You never been locked up? Detained, anything? Okay, all right, perfect. Have you ever been in a precinct, police precinct? All right, you ever talked to a cop, seen a cop? All right, for sure. You know somebody that's been in jail? What type of jail did they go to? You don't know. All right, how long were they in jail? All right, good. All honest answers. Jazakallah khairan. Need another volunteer. All right, what can you tell me about prison? Horrible. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Are all prisons the same? No. What makes a prison different? Community, style, what else? Type of crime, what else? Level of security, how tight or how loose things are. What else? Huh? Punishment, what else? What do we know about jails and prisons? It's federal. Oh, so therefore there are types of what? Types of jails with regards to the security, the crime, and the level. So at the top of the list is the federal. All right, good. What's under the federal? State, and then county, and then let's say local precinct. You aren't sentenced yet, but you got arrested. You're here for the weekend. You're here for a couple of hours, whatever the case may be. Whether they let you out, whether you have bail, etc. Beautiful. So we have county, we have state, and we have federal. And then of course you have the local precinct, local police station, etc. What are the differences between the three or the four? The type of crime. So in theory, if you go to the federal prison, what type of crime is it? Severe or? It's something that's what? It's serious. It's serious. Regardless of the nature, whether it was violent, whether it pertained to sexual, it's something that was what? Serious. Okay. And what about the state prison or prisons? As well, serious but not as? And what about the county? You did something bad, but it was? Alright, perfect. If they lock you up and let you go, it was? Wahakada. Alright, perfect. So what do we know about the federal prisons? What's the average amount of time someone's going to spend there?
Decades.
The average amount of time, average. 5 years, nothing less than 5 years. Anybody else? He says 6 to 10. Anybody else? Life. What's the lowest? What's the basic amount of time someone's been doing a Fed? 3 to 5? 25. 5 is the Nisab.
23.
36 months. Okay, that's 3 years. As a what? All right. Regardless of how little or how small or how few, the nature of the prison is totally different than that of the county. The more severe the crime, the worse the offense, the more violence involved, the more people you hurt or whatever, the severe it is. We can agree on this? All right. Where are the federal prisons located in most cases? Middle of where? Or what?
Middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere. They're not local? Allah Akbar. Huh? Alcatraz. No, tell you. Okay. You know how hard it was to escape from Alcatraz? You ever been to Alcatraz? I've seen it before. It's literally an island in the middle of nowhere. If and when you escape the prison, the chances of you surviving the water, the sharks, getting on land, slim to none. So we're saying that a federal prison in most cases, not all the time, because it may be a federal prison that's unorthodox, in the middle of downtown. It's federal holding. But for argument's sake, a federal prison is in the middle of what? Nowhere. Why do they put you in the middle of nowhere? So you can't get out, okay. What else?
Harder for people to visit.
Harder for people to visit. What's so important about people visiting you? What's the big deal?
Give you that feeling of support.
Support. I'm gonna send you money.
No. Psychological support.
Psychological support. You just being with your family, seeing them, holding your son's hand, your daughter giving you a hug. That speaks volumes to someone who's doing time. Just me hugging my daughter, seeing my son, right? Versus it's so far that if your family wanted to see you, it's difficult. How many buses or trains, spend the night in a hotel, driving back, the security checks, the humiliation. It's meant to be a deterrent for you to stay out of this place. We don't want your family to see you. We want your family to do what? Forget about you. But how can they forget you if you're still alive?
Make it hard for them to see you.
How does a person forget you even though you're still in existence? You're still living. You can write them, maybe a call, etc. What is the connection between forgetting and seeing? Okay, but I know you're there. What's the connection? We're talking about psychology now. There we go. Most of us, not all, most of us, out of sight, out of mind. Most of us. If I don't see you physically, phone call, text message, visit, once a year it's a reunion. You came to this masjid, no, Mufti, it's good to see you, Jazakallah khair, and I won't see you for 12 months. And I won't hear from you, WhatsApp, text message, nothing for what? 12 months. Most of us are like this, out of sight, out of mind. But a true friend, a true loved one, your true homie is someone that's going to keep you on their mind and in their heart, even if you're physically out of sight. We agree on this or not? Everybody agree? A true loved one, I'm going to get on the 2 buses or trains to come see you. I'm going to take off work. I'm going to be in the middle of the mountains, freezing cold, nowhere, just to go see you, to bring you something, to visit you. I'll deal with the humiliating security checks because I truly love you. And I'm here for you. I'm sad that you're gone. And I can't wait for you to, if you're coming back. If and what? If and when you're coming out of this place. How many people, those people want to be what? Few. Few. So therefore, one of the ways that we can, in theory, keep people from coming to prison and break you down as a human being, psychologically, is to keep you away from your loved ones by making the most distance, harshest weather, most unfamiliar territory, and the worst state troopers. And we said, man, I love you and everything, but I'm sorry, I'm not going up there again. I was on the side of the road for 3 hours with the windows rolled down in the freezing cold, while they called the K9 unit, searched my car for nothing. I love you, however, I can't make that trip again. I can't lose work. I'm sorry, I can't. It's too much. I can't deal with that. So therefore, in most cases, you, brother, cousin, husband, wife, girlfriend, whatever the relationship, you're going to be out of sight and out of mind. But magically, your case is appealed, or your time is up, or good behavior, or probation, etc., parole. And then you do what now? You come home. And the moment I hear that you're coming home, the phone calls may get a little more what? Frequent. Hey, how you doing, Sheikh? I heard you about to come home. MashaAllah. Do you need anything, Sheikh? Can I come pick you up? But I was here for 6 years and I got what? Not one single letter. Nothing you put on my books, nothing. A little messed up, right? Or you are actually home. I brought you some food, I brought you some shoes, I brought you some boots, etc., etc. And then once the love wears off, the emotions wear off, you're back into society. Did you get a job? Did you reacclimate to society? I'm back to my life and you're back to yours. Can we agree on this or not? Anyone who's ever experienced it himself, or you have a friend, or your son, and there are Muslims in prisons. Don't think it's a far-fetched discussion. There are many young Muslims in jail. There's many older Muslims in jail. Many brothers were blessed with Islam in the jail system. So, let's translate this to what we're talking about tonight. One of the ways of maximizing your benefit from Ramadan is not allowing yourself to be out of sight, out of mind. You cannot just get in the Ramadan spirit when it comes. You can't just start thinking about fasting as soon as it comes. Because easy come, easy go. Last minute, the moment, Ramadan, first day of Shawwal, most of us is what? The Ramadan spirit will what? Will go away. So how do we stop this thinking or this way of thinking? That is by truly loving a thing or person. And every person in love or wanting to be loved wants to be thought about and remembered. And never ever wants to be out of sight, out of mind. That's the first thing your wife is going to ask you. Why didn't you contact me? Why didn't you call me? Why didn't you text me? Why didn't you respond to me? This is going to be one of the biggest complaints that she's going to have against you. Not money, not this. but you don't spend enough time with me. You don't show me enough time. You don't show me enough attention. Young men, pay attention. Before you get married, money, a woman will be with you with a can of beans. If she truly loves you and if she feels loved by you, with a can of beans. She'll live with you in a tent. She'll give up and relinquish everything. But no love, no time, no affection, no FaceTime, no selfie, no this is what I had for lunch. Try it out if you don't believe me. So therefore, the moral of the story is, you have to think about Ramadan before it comes. And you also have to think about Ramadan after it leaves. Try it out. Try it out. Keep Ramadan in your mind months ahead of time. I guarantee you Ramadan is going to be better. And after Ramadan leaves, sit down with your journal or your notebook, write down what you benefit, what you learned, your lessons, your struggles, your successes, your failures. And I guarantee it's going to make you appreciate the month even greater. When asked, how many times have I come to your mind? How many times have you thought about me? How often do I come and go from your thoughts in your mind? I say only once, because you came to my mind and you never left. If you were to ask me, how often do you think about me? How many hours out of the day do you think about me? I can't say anything because there's no time to think about you. I'm thinking about you all of the time. There's a time to think about eating, sleeping, drinking, going to work, but you're always on my mind. Imagine if you said that to your wife. How would your wife feel? You're blushing right now. What would that do for a woman? Even if it's a lie. Even if it's not true. Wow, really? You think about me all the time? You never left my mind. The moment you came, you never left. When I'm not with you, I'm thinking about how and when I'm going to see you again. When I'm with you, I don't think about anything else but what I have in front of me. And when I leave you, I'm reminiscing and also thinking about when is the next time I'm going to see you. Think about that now. Compare that to the month of Ramadan, or compare the month of Ramadan to that mindset. You never left my mind. I think about you all of the time. Pre, during, and post. This mindset was well known to the best of this ummah, the Muslims. Ibn Rajab, rahimahullah, he quoted Mu'alla ibn al-Fadl as saying, كانوا يدعون الله 6 أشهر أن يبلغهم رمضان ويدعونه 6 أشهر أن يتقبل منهم. He said that they, meaning the kibar al-salaf, the righteous ulama, the great Muslims of the earliest generations, كانوا يدعون الله, they would invoke Allah for 6 months. 6 months out the year, asking Allah for one thing and one thing only. Allow us to see Ramadan. And then with the remaining 6 months, they would ask Allah to accept it from them. So how many months are there in the year, in the calendar?
12.
We sure? Only 12 months? So if you took a knife and you cut the year right down the middle, how many pieces would you have? Quarter, sixth, eighth? 2 halves, right? Is my sandwich half for you, half for me? We have an apple or an orange. Here you go. We equal right down the middle. So 6 months they were thinking about what? Ramadan. And then for the remaining 6 months they were what? They were what? They were thinking about Ramadan. So Ramadan was so special to them. It was so meaningful to them. Once it came to their minds and their hearts, it never what? Never left. And that's true love. And if you have that true love, there is no such thing as out of sight, out of mind. Let's make another example. Let's not talk about prison, state prisons or federal prisons. I'm impressed, Shuaib, mashallah. The way of the disciple is to have knowledge of all things. All things. So we're no longer talking about prison, nor are we talking about the difficulties of love, the trials of love, the craziness of love. This is important advice for young Muslims that just get married. Because after the lovey-dovey stuff wears off, and the fights and the arguments, And then you ask yourself, why did I even get married? All we do is fight and argue. Everything is stress and drama. You were the most beautiful person now, and you're the ugliest person in my eyes. It's why we have talaq in the community. Because people don't understand the fiqh of marriage and of love. And there's a fiqh to it. And this is no accident why 9 out of 10 songs are about, 9 out of 10 movies and dramas are about. Why do you think? Because it's such a big thing and it's such a major, important part of life that most people don't truly understand. So, with that being said, let's talk about sports. Right now, what are the sports that are being played? Soccer, football, lacrosse, basketball. What is the hockey? The Blue Jackets, huh? Tell you who's better, the Blue Jackets or the Flyers? You sure? Inshallah. All right, tell you. True sports fans, what do they watch and do in the off season? Whether the team lost or won, had a good season or a bad season. What do they do?
They go buy merchandise.
Go buy merchandise. What else do they do? Highlights. Keep watching the highlights. What else? Off-season, trades, coordinators. But what about the fan, though? I can't watch it live anymore. What do? Keep watching older games on YouTube or whatever the case may be. I don't travel anywhere except in my trunk is a basketball or a football or boxing gloves. Is this not the case? Even when it isn't the right season, if you truly love that thing, that sport is always what? On your mind. I can't believe how we choked. I can't believe the horrible call of the refs, how they robbed us. I can't believe that we won. I can't believe that we came this close. I can't believe we let him go. So before the season, what are you doing? Thinking about it. As the season is going on, what are you doing? You're loving it. And after the season is over, your heart is still what? It's still attached, broken or in one piece. And that's the true fan. And he's going to know and learn more about the game, much more than the person who only buys the merchandise or puts on the makeup just for the game day. And the moment that it's over, if they have a bad season, they have done what? They have forgotten. So this is one of the key points of how to maximize your benefit from Ramadan, is keeping Ramadan and fasting on your mind all of the time. Before the month comes, making dua for Allah to allow you to see it. Making dua for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make you worthy of that month. While you're fasting, you're focusing and concentrating on performing the month in the best manner possible. The fiqh of the siyam. Every year I'm going to learn something new. Every year before Ramadan, I'm going to review what I previously learned about Ramadan. Every year, I'm going to make for myself, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, a set of simple goals, achievable goals within my reach to maximize this month. And they're going to be realistic and feasible goals. That way you build momentum and rhythm. Now, and then after the month is over, I have to sit down, I have to evaluate myself. Did I fulfill my mission? Did I achieve my goals? Did I take care of my resolutions, New Year's resolutions? Do you know how many people actually keep their New Year's resolutions? It's a very slim percentage. And that's because most of us only live in the moment. We don't plan ahead, nor do we reflect on the past. So that's the advice bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Just try it out. Try it out. Try to make one dua every day about Ramadan. Before, during, and after. And in most cases, wallahu ta'ala alam, you're going to have a sweeter, juicier taste from Ramadan. And that's because if I talk to you on the phone every day, I know your movements. When I see you, I don't have to spend 10, 20, 30 minutes doing what? Recalibrating everything. What's up? What you doing? You got married? You had kids? What are you studying? I just talk to you. So when I see you, I can hit the ground what? Running. Just think about that. And think about how the shaitan wants you to just live in the moment. About the last day. About the jinn. about the grave, about the shayateen. He wants you to just focus on spooky things instead of the real life, everyday practicalities. ماذا أعددت لها? What have you prepared for the day of judgment? When is the day of judgment? Isn't important. What's important is that you are prepared. So, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, we have the spiritual realm, we have the moral realm, the physical realm, the mental realm. We have all of these different dimensions or sides or aspects. Just take this one and apply it to every other single realm. What's happening to the Muslims down in Palestine? As soon as it goes out of the news, most of us are going to forget about Palestine. And this is why they're going to continue to do what they're doing. But they're planning before it breaks off, scheming while it's going on, and what can we do even after the ceasefire? How many more people can we kill? How many more buildings can we destroy? How many more politicians and governments can we make our whores and our prostitutes? Can we buy them, buy their science, buy their complicity? And how more comfortable can we make your lives, which will cause you to forget about what's going on in the world today? So this is food for thought, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Of course, saving money is important with regards to Ramadan. Try to make it your goal to give sadaqah each and every single day. Every day you give sadaqah. And it's important to give sadaqah on a daily basis because the Prophet ﷺ tells us that the angels are tasked on a daily basis. مَا مِنْ يَوْمٍ يُسْبِحُ فِيهِ الْعِبَادُ إِلَّا وَمَلَكَانِ يَنْزِلَانِ فَيَقُولُ أَحَدُهُمَا اللهم أعطِ منفقا خلفا ويقول الآخر اللهم أعطِ ممسكا تلفا. Every single day, the Prophet ﷺ tells us, every morning, every time the slaves wake up, their souls are returned, two angels descend. And these two angels are tasked with making dua for you or against you on a daily basis. One of the angels says, "Oh Allah, the one who spends in your cause, give him more. Bless his wealth. Oh Allah, the one who's stingy, who's tight-fisted, who doesn't spend in your cause, destroy his wealth. Strip the barakah from his wealth." So are the angels making dua for you on a daily basis or making dua against you? So make it your daily goal to give some type of sadaqah, and you should double that amount in Ramadan. I don't have a lot of money. I'm not a wealthy man. I'm not from money. I work hard for everything I have. But I can give $1 every day. Dollar won't hurt me. And then inshallah ta'ala on Jumu'ah, I give $5. And then Ramadan, my $5 daily dollars is going to be, my $5 weekly dollars, that's every day. And then Jumu'ah and Ramadan, I want to give 10. Make for yourself a goal by saving up money and sacrificing, just like sports fans sacrifice. Your co-worker, he didn't get his coffee from Starbucks. He says, I'm saving up to go to the game. I'm saving up to do this and to go here. I'm saving up for the tickets. And he saves up for those tickets ahead of time. That way, game day in the playoffs, he can buy the expensive tickets, he can go out with his friends, and he can enjoy the game because he loves that sport, he loves that team. So there's a financial preparation for the month of Ramadan. Saving money, being more frugal with money. Saving food, storing food, which keeps you from going to the market, going to the store. That's crucial, vital time that you could have been in the masjid. And shop your pantry. Very important to shop your pantry. All of those canned goods that you have, give them in charity. Ayyul Islami afdal, the Prophet was asked, what's the best Islam? The Prophet says, Tut'imu ta'am, wa taqra'u as-salam, ala man arafta, wa man lam ta'rif. Feed and give salams to whomever you come across. Those whom you know and those who you don't know. As long as they're Muslims, you give them the salams. So these are simple, basic ways of reaping the most from the month that the sad reality most of us are either ignorant and oblivious to, or we're forgetful. So, spiritual preparation, tawbah. Cleaning your soul. We mentioned this. Cleaning your house before your guests arise. Getting your schedule together now, that when Ramadan comes, you're not running around at the very last minute. Saving your money, putting in overtime at work before Ramadan, so when Ramadan comes, you don't have to work as much. And there's more time for itikaf, for tarawih, there's more time to sleep early, to get up for suhoor, etc. And of course, there's the social preparation and the social benefiting. Let's try every day to learn a dua, but together as a family. I don't want to hear I'm tired, I got to go to work, I don't feel like it. No. Every day we need to sit down and have one meal together. One meal. Think about that. How better would your family be if everybody had one meal together? Mother, father, children, aunts, uncles, all together. Normally, I leave at 5 a.m., you're still asleep. I come home at 10 p.m. and you're asleep. So try your best in that time to make feasible goals before the month. Once the month comes, inshallah, you'll be able to take as much benefit. And you'll be a better Muslim, inshallah ta'ala, and it'll be funner. And it won't be as hard and it won't be as difficult. With regards to your soul, your finances, apologize to your family member that you got into a fight and an argument with, silent treatment, you boycotted this family member, this person doesn't want to speak to you. Try your best to fix those problems. فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَأَصْلِحُوا ذَاتَ بَيْنِكُمْ. Allah said to the companions, after they were few in number, after they were weak in strength and arms, they were outnumbered by the mushrikun. Allah gave them victory, and for the first time, they had a little taste of the dunya after the battle, after the victory. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَنْفَالِ. They ask you, O Muhammad, concerning the spoils. قُلْ الْأَنْفَالُ لِلَّهِ وَالرَّسُولِ. Tell them, Allah and His Messenger will do with these spoils as they please. They will be spent, given, divided according to what Allah wants. So therefore you should worry about and focus on فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَأَصْلِحُوا ذَاتَ بَيْنِكُمْ. You fear Allah and fix your severed, cut relationships. Mend your relationships. I'm sorry, Akhi. I said something about you. Please forgive me. I know I haven't done this. We got into a fight. Listen, let's squash the beef. Give me a hug. I love you for Allah's sake. Khalas. Let go. And if you don't let go, and you hold those grudges, you may get some reward in Ramadan, this and that, but you're not going to get the full benefit. And that's because from the highest aims of Ramadan is forgiveness. From the higher aims of Ramadan is getting Allah's forgiveness. And Allah clearly tells us to forgive each other just as we love for Allah to forgive us. And that goes back to the first point, which was sympathy and empathy. That's the name of the game. You can't be a believer until you do for your brother, you love for your brother, that's what you love for yourself. It doesn't feel good, it isn't pleasant, it isn't nice. Why do you do it to somebody else? The world, without a question, will be a better and safer place if we truly had sympathy and empathy for everyone. The world will be a better place for everybody to live. People do things to other nations and races, and when it's done to them, they cry and they boo-hoo. We are victims of this atrocity and Holocaust, and now we're going to turn around and do the exact same thing. Something's off. So bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, that's what I want to share with you guys tonight. The theory of it and the practical tips. Maximizing your benefit from this month. Thinking about this month. Don't allow the month to come and allow the month to be out of mind, out of sight. Imitate, follow, copy the way of the Salaf al-Salih. كان من دعائهم Yahya ibn Abi Kathir, he said, they used to make dua, Allahumma sallimni ila Ramadan wa sallim li Ramadan wa tasallamhu minni mutaqabbalan aw kama qala rahimahullah. They would say, oh Allah, allow me to be in a good shape for Ramadan. Make me go close to Ramadan, bring Ramadan close to me. and accept it from me. Accept it from me. So bidnillahi ta'ala, try it out. You have to be the judge. Is it effective or not? All I can do is give you a little bit of advice. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا وإمامنا محمد وجزاكم الله خيرا.
بارك الله فيك وأحسن الله إليك. We ask Allah Ta'ala to make us those who understand and comprehend that message, and also act upon it. Inshallah, we're going to open the floor for Q&A. So if anybody has questions regarding Ramadan or any questions in general, now is the time, inshallah. Yes.
You talked about not having Ramadan as out of sight, out of mind. How do you recommend like some practical tips to do?
Like we just said, when you have out of sight mentality, you're at a loss. There's not so much you can truly get, and you're not keeping it real. Nor can you be a real fan or a real lover or a real brother of someone or something until that thing is on your mind for a large part of your day. For a large part of your day. So therefore, if you only think about Ramadan or talk about it, then you're part-time. And that's fine, but your income, your check will also be part-time. Full-time is full-time. Overtime is what? Overtime. And how much leniency does your boss give you, leeway, if you're always there early and leave late? What happens when you're sick or you have to travel or you need this? What do you think your boss is going to say to you? In most cases, he's going to say what? Go ahead, take the whole week. Versus you only come when you have to and you leave right on the minute. No, you can't take off. Sorry. So just got to make yourself conscious of that now. And try it out. Try it out. Make a dua every day. Read a hadith about Ramadan. Learn something new. Just try it out on a daily basis. Let alone the recommended days of fasting. Mondays and Thursdays. 3 days out of the month. And all of the days in the authentic sunnah in which a Muslim is supposed to fast when he doesn't have to fast. Wallahu a'lam. Fadal. وإياكم.
I was reading Sahih Muslim, and I was reading the book of Jihad. I know it has nothing to do with Ramadan, but in the book it has like a checklist which tells us what's necessary for the Muslim Ummah to join in Jihad with Palestine, and like nearly the whole checklist is filled out. It's like checked out for a young man or a man in of himself to join the jihad. So what is the obligation for us Muslim men at a time like this when Palestine is going through
Clear. Jazakallah khairan. Question is regarding with regards to jihad fi sabilillah. Whether it's in Palestine or outside of Palestine, if I meet all of the requirements, what do I do? Do I go? Do I? And so on and so forth. My advice to you is, أصدق الله يصدق. أصدق الله يصدق. Be truthful with Allah, Allah will be truthful with you. So if you've read and studied that all of the boxes are checked, the Muslims are in this state, they don't have the ability, I don't have these debts, etc., 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 you have to go with what you believe to be the truth. I have no excuse not to go. I have no excuse not to join. Then that's a decision that you and you only can make. I have to go. I have no choice. No one, no, you don't have to go. You shouldn't go. Oh, whoa. Yeah, Sheikh. So you have to have the sincere intention in your heart. I believe that it's wajib. Bismillah. It's that simple. No one can shake you from your belief as long as you're truthful and honest. So you have to do what you believe is the correct thing to do in your heart. And if you read it in Sahih Bukhari or any other book, or that you got the fatwa and it's clear, Bismillah, so be it. So be it. It's just that simple. Be honest with Allah, Allah will be honest with you. You want to go, you need to go, you have to go. As long as you have the sincere intention, Allah will make a way for you to go. And that's between you and your Lord, subhanahu wa ta'ala. No one can tell you otherwise. If you are sincere, Wallahu ta'ala alam. And of course, we always make dua for our brothers in Palestine. And we always try to raise consciousness of the ummah with regards to changing the situation. And if we are unworthy of seeing it, and we can't physically change it, at least to make the situation better. Or perhaps kicking up enough dust and raising enough voices for someone to come behind us and pick up where we left off and actually do what needs to be done. Wallahu alam.
Every Ramadan for like 40 days, there's a hadith that people share for the people like this drink, smoke. It's the hadith that says that how should people
What's the hadith again?
There's a hadith like for people who drink and smoke.
Who drink and smoke.
4 days before hadith.
4 days?
40 days before Ramadan.
40 days before Ramadan.
Salah is not accepted.
That the salah is not accepted. I'll tell you. As far as drinking alcohol, drinking wine, then of course that existed in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. People drunk. Rather, people would drink in abundance. And a big part of the culture of the pre-Islamic Arabs was wine, was drinking. A big part of their culture. Like many other cultures, if not most other cultures. It's a social thing. So therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sent down legislation about khamr. So that's clear. And the Prophet ﷺ tells us that those who drink, those who get drunk, what are their punishments? Spiritual punishments, prayer not being accepted, them being flogged in the Islamic legal system, the penal system. فَإِنْ شَرِبَ فِي الرَّابِعَةِ فَاقْتُلُوهُ. He who drinks once, what do you do? He who drinks twice, he who's caught getting drunk a third time, the fourth time, what do you do? That's all well known. And that is with regards to fasting and besides fasting. That's prohibited in and by itself. Drinking in Ramadan is going to be worse, of course. Drinking right before Ramadan is going to be worse, of course. But that's prohibited all throughout the 12 months. As far as smoking, whether it be cigarettes or tobacco or cigars, whether backwoods, whatever, Allahu Alam, whatever you into, vaping and smoking weed and smoking other stuff, then obviously marijuana has been around for generations. But the concept of modern smoking is relatively new. So I don't think that there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that talks about smoking. Those who smoke. Those who get intoxicated, yes. Those who drink wine, as I said, for sure. No doubt about that. But smoking with or without intoxication, Allahu Alam. What's important is, if a Muslim has an addiction or problem with smoking and drinking, he should get help. On every level of the meaning of the word help. Spiritual aspect, therapy, counseling, programs, etc. And make tawbah. And be honest, as I said to the brother, be honest with Allah. Do you really want to stop? Even if it's difficult, but I'm ready to give up. I'm tired of this. Versus, I know it's haram, it has some bad effects, but I still, kind of enjoy it. Still like it. It still makes me feel good. You're not ready to stop yet. Until you're honest and truthful, I have to stop. I cannot continue doing this act, which is detrimental to my faith, to my body, to my money, to my family, etc. So therefore, one who drinks, that's one thing. One who smokes and gets intoxicated, that's another thing. But beware of losing hope and quitting and giving up on Allah's mercy. And perhaps bi'idhnillah, in Ramadan, the dua that you make, that charity that you give, that poor family that you help out, perhaps that'll be your finest hour. Perhaps that'll be that Allah will answer your dua and Allah will give you the strength to walk away from those vices. Wallahu ta'ala alam.